was kind of excited because the Coen brothers at this point in time are just Coen bro.
Yes.
They're going their own ways. And it's kind of interesting to see how they're taking their artistic sensibilities and translating it to their own personal projects. And I hate to do this to Ethan. It felt like another Coen brothers flick we absolutely adore in our house, burn after reading. But with none of the wit.
Hi, I'm Teresa. Welcome to our weekend show of Cocoon Cast, where we deep dive into movies and discuss all things cinema.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. Today we'll be discussing the new movie, Drive Away Dolls.
And Rebecca, I hear we have some symphonic news.
Looks like Ridley Scott might not be the only director with a B movie on his hands.
Oh boy, here we go. Let's get started.
You'd think living in Philadelphia near the end of 1999 would be fun and exciting, but for friends Janie and Marion, the most exciting thing is moving out of town. When they decide to meet up with Marion's aunt in Tallahassee, they soon discover a mysterious briefcase in their car's trunk. With two goons hot on their trail, Jamie and Marion must think fast if they are to survive their trip.
Rebecca, this is a road trip movie. We have seen trailers for this movie. Actually, multiple times.
Pun intended with the trailer bit.
Yeah, right? And I was kind of excited.
I was kind of excited because the Coen brothers at this point in time are just Coen bro.
Yes.
They're going their own ways. And it's kind of interesting to see how they're taking their artistic sensibilities and translating it to their own personal projects. I know we saw Joel Coen's The Tragedy of Macbeth. We loved it.
Oh, yeah. That was good. That's the Denzel Washington one, and that received some good award buzz.
Well, we'd give it a 5 Moth, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would. That wasn't even a... It's like, yeah, no, hands down, 5 Moth movie.
The last project I remember Ethan working on was a documentary, so I was really surprised to see that he's venturing back into the fictional space, especially several of his interview quotes indicated that he really wasn't that excited about making movies anymore.
I don't know this. This is sad. We like his movies, and if he goes away, then it's Coen bro.
Coen bro no mo, I guess you could say.
Exactly. It's just one. This one was kind of funky, though. I gotta say, the trailer looked like kind of a funny road trip. The movie starts out, right? The two gals, they're together, and they're like, oh, we're going on a road trip. Circling where they want to go. I remember like the biggest Dixie cup, and it was funny because it was, we need to go here, we need to go see my aunt in Tallahassee, and one's a straight way and one's this kind of curvy path, and I kind of thought, okay, this could be funny.
There's several lines in the trailer that felt very Coen-esque.
Curly here.
Don't call me Curly.
And your name Curly?
My name is Curly. We just met. It's too familiar.
But part of that also is Ethan's wife, Trisha, a large contributor to some of their films. She's also edited a huge chunk of them. She was an unofficial co-director, and she co-wrote the script. This script has been floating around for a while. You know it's old when they try to get Chloe Sevgeny attached to it.
Rebecca, you had told me this script had been floating around, 2007?
Yes, this is actually pitched as an idea at a Christmas party.
I don't tend to go to Christmas parties where we pitch movies. I go to Christmas parties where we talk about movies, but not, hey, this is my greatest idea. The thought of 2007, I guess, makes a little bit more sense because the movie was set in 1999.
Which wouldn't have been that far away at that point.
Correct, but when I looked at it, when we just saw it, I'm like, that's like 24 years ago. That's like crazy.
To me, it felt very outdated, and not because it was set in 99. It felt like Thelma and Louise with all the subtext being made text, but it also felt like, and I hate to do this to Ethan, it felt like another Coen brothers flick we absolutely adore in our house, burn after reading. But with none of the wit.
That was a big part of this movie. It started off interesting, right? Mandalorian's showing up and who knows what's going on there. I'm intrigued, but then it just went so many different directions, and not because it's a road trip, but the way that they put it out there. They're going to go to all these funky places. People are out to get them. It had so much potential to be funny, and yet it wasn't.
My main complaint with this movie is it feels like two separate movies riding on top of each other. You remember when you're a kid and you have a crayon and you're drawing, and all of a sudden some kid in your class comes behind you and tries to draw over your picture. Like, wait, that's my picture. That's what this movie felt like. It felt like a great road trip movie with two gals trying to figure out, hey, what does our friendship look like? And then all of a sudden Ethan Coen comes in with his friends and goes, I want to write this wacky comedy caper movie.
That's a great example because it felt like two movies and it didn't mesh, right? It didn't flow. It felt disjointed. I remember you were saying, check out the cast, and I didn't notice it when we were watching the trailers, but Margaret Qualley, who's Jamie, one of the main characters, one of the main lead female characters, she's actually Andie MacDowell's daughter.
She kind of looks like her a little bit.
Well, after you see it, right? I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, okay, she's a young gal, okay. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you start seeing, oh my gosh, she looks like Andie MacDowell, only younger. But she's an actress in her own right. She's been doing several things at this point.
Most of our American cinema community might recognize her from The Leftovers. I know that was a really popular show on HBO for a while. The one that I know her from is Palo Alto. It was Gia Coppola's first film, and James Franco wrote the screenplay. It kind of hasn't aged well, but for what it's worth, it was an interesting attempt at a teenage movie.
That's interesting that she, just like her mom, right? She's an actress. That I think is the hard part is, we were talking, Mandalorian's in there, Pedro Pascal, Matt Damon shows up, but it feels random.
It feels random, I think, because of the way the story structure is. Like I said, I can't get the visual of Ethan Coen with his little crayons out of my head.
I
and
understand
there's a good
that.
reason for that. The halves of the movie feel very distinct, but there's not a whole lot of work to join them together. The closest you get, basically, is plot at the end of the movie. And you have half of these characters focused in one area of the plot. Then you have another half coming in later.
I agree with that. I also think there were only, in my mind, a few parts of the movie that were funny. And honestly, I think those were in the trailer. All these other, relationship dramas and what do I do and who do I, have relationships with and it just felt so chaotic to me. And it really, I understand they're trying to tell a story, but I guess for me, it really wasn't a story I was really interested in at that point.
I wanted to be interested in the story. I really did, because
I get that.
I wanted to see these two characters learn from each other, but also learn from themselves. Like, this is my past self. How have I grown as a person? And I get that. It was a very much flip switch on, flip the switch off kind of approach.
I know we were talking about it on the way back to the studio. It's kind of a strange movie to me because I know that, they're trying to bring them together and they're trying to help the cinema community care about these women. It's not that I didn't like them. I just didn't really care about them. I didn't care whether they were friends, whether, something happened to them. And I just think in movies like this, you want to have all these feelings for them.
Yeah, I think the strength of a road trip movie determines itself based on how much you want to see the characters succeed or you want to connect emotionally with the characters. The strangest thing for me, and I know you and I talked about it, was that Jamie and Marion, according to the script, are friends.
Yes.
And we only really get one hint of Jamie and Marion being friends by Marion calling Jamie and saying, hey, are you going out tonight? I don't want to be the only person here. It feels weird.
Sure.
I feel like a little bit more work in between that and the bar scene where they end up in the bar and kind of kicks off the impetus for the plot would have gone a long way, especially because they feel so tangentially opposite to each other in terms of emotional compass.
That's a great point because the more opposite they are, the more work it takes to bring them together. And Ethan Coen wrote this, directed this. And maybe it's just me, but the thought is this is going to be wildly funny. And the premise of the road trip, like I was saying, the largest Dixie cup, all these different... It could have been snappy dialogue. We recently rewatched True Grit. And obviously that's a Coen brothers, right? That's both of them. But I think that Ethan can pull this off, right? His wife is part of this. I think it had the potential to be funny, even going in a different direction. It felt a little weird. We're talking about the briefcase, felt a little Pulp Fiction-y.
Except for you find out what's actually in the briefcase this time.
Yeah, you do, right? And even then, to me, it wasn't like, oh, that's so funny. It's, okay, that's just what it is.
I think it's really rough for me because Trisha has been an integral part of the Coen success. So she's very familiar with what the audience expectations are for this kind of movie. I was expecting something a little bit more snappy, especially because she's the editor for a lot of their films.
Do we have any questions from the box?
The Coens are seen as a cohesive unit by most of the cinema community, but they've increasingly followed their own journey. Do you feel like this is a Coen Brothers movie, or is it more like a Coen light, or Coen at all?
I think it's Coen light. If you want a taste of what the Coen brothers flavor looks like, this is a good example because it takes a lot of the tropes, character dynamics we see in a Coen movie and then kind of gives it a feminist twist to it. I think that gives our cinema community something to look forward to because the emotional journey for female characters and male characters sometimes looks like very different places at the end of the day.
Interesting. I think Coen light, if even that, there were parts of it where it felt a little Coen-ish. Like we were talking about, some of the trailers when they're going to rent a car. Curly, if you've seen the trailer, you know who Curly is.
Don't call him that. You just barely met him.
Exactly. There's little parts of that where it's kind of funny. There's a little bit of dialogue here and there. But if anything, knowing that it was Ethan Coen's movie, I was more disappointed.
So if they just said it was like Trisha's movie directing, but then Ethan had produced it, would you have the same expectations?
I don't think I would have had the same expectations, but I still don't think I would have liked it very much. It's just what it was for me. It just wasn't likable, and it just had so many different moving parts. And I understand what you're saying, that they're taking a risk. But I would say if people are unsure, this might be one where you actually watch a spoiler or two review, or you read a little bit more about it, because I think it has so many elements. The average cinema community or cinema goer may not be expecting some of those things, and it may be disappointing to them.
I feel like there's a shadow of a better movie waiting to happen. And it's really tough because I like a lot of the Coens' work. I remember when I was younger, you and I would watch it with the box and we would enjoy it.
Yes.
It's really sad that my immediate response after seeing a movie from the latest director is to turn on an older movie from the director where some of the same concepts I feel like are done better.
That's true. That's true. Because you want growth and change. And obviously with his wife, you want her to find her voice. If she wants to, put it out there, it's like, yeah, that's great. She has an opportunity to do that. Do we have any other questions from the box?
Although the actresses were recognizable, they're newer actresses. Do you think this movie would have fared better with some more well-known actresses?
I think my expectations would have been higher with some more well-known actresses. I like the fact that our actresses are in that sweet spot of, hey, yeah, I think I know that person, but I'm not familiar with their work as much. I think that allows me to enjoy the characters and their journey more.
I would agree with that, because I think we've talked a lot about expectations, and I agree with you, more expectations I don't think would have helped the movie. And as you said, I was actually excited to hear, oh, that's Andie MacDowell's daughter, and she's a good actress, and the acting wasn't terrible. So to me, it's not necessarily the name's going to make it better. It would just put, like you said, more expectations or more of maybe a typecast around that person. Rebecca, it is that time of the show, 1 to 5 moths. They left their rental car just to come talk to you. What do you think, 1 to 5?
Oh, they shouldn't be talking to me. It's going to be a one moth movie, man.
Ooh, wow. All right, let's talk. One moth movie. Number one reason for one moth.
If I spend the time after your movie thinking about, hey, you did this movie and it was so much better, and then I go home and watch that movie and I'm like, that movie was so much better, you have a bad movie.
1 to 5. They're back to see me now. Not too many of them are here back to see me. I'm going to go with you on this one. I think it's a solid 1. It made effort. It tried. It put it out there, but in the end, it didn't do it for me at all.
And there's no shame with movies that don't land. Sometimes it just does not work out.
That is correct.
If you enjoyed our review on Drive Away Dolls, please like, which helps more viewers find our cinema community, and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming reviews, and please share with your friends.
Rebecca, it is that time of the show to talk about who we are not sponsored by.
Who are we not sponsored by this week?
This week, we are not sponsored by Enterprise.
Not very enterprising, are they?
Not very enterprising. And just to be clear, Miss Little Spacey Geek, it's not that Enterprise, it's the Enterprise.
Warp Speed 0, got it.
Exactly. I'm thinking road trip movie, Enterprise rents cars.
Rent this movie?
Thought they would appreciate it. People watching road trip movies, of course they're going to need cars. Everybody needs a car if you're on a road trip. I would have thought they would sponsor us, but no. But they're quite interesting. Do you know anything about Enterprise?
I just remember the green little E logo buzzing around the big city when I was younger.
That's all that it is, actually. No. They were founded in 1962, so 62 years ago. Actually, a little bit before my middle brother. Fascinating.
He's going to feel old now, thanks.
He's going to feel old, if he doesn't already. By Jack Taylor, who was born in 1922. At the time of his death, right, he was a billionaire with the B. He was a fighter pilot in World War II, which cracks me up because he's now in cars. He probably thought, yeah, enough of those crazy airplanes. I think I'm going to go back on the ground and just kind of drive.
That also explains why they don't rent planes.
I didn't find anything that said that they used to, and if they call me back, if they have something about that, I'd find that interesting. There are things about him, though, I really liked. His whole philosophy is you take care of your customers, you take care of your employees, and the profits will follow, which is quite interesting because we established, right, the guy's a billionaire. The part that I love, though, you'll appreciate this. When you buy a car, if you buy a rental car, you can imagine, right, things are in the trunk, crazy things happen, chaos ensues. But when they sell their car, I thought it was fascinating because most car companies, if you buy them, it's like, yeah, well, good luck on that one. They actually have a 7-day or 1,000-mile return. They also have a 12-month warranty, 12 months roadside assistance. I'm laughing. The movie we just saw, they needed that with their little flat tire. They also, this is my favorite, the box will attest to this. They were early adopters of the no haggle or haggle-free buy your car.
Oh, I love not haggling for cars.
That's huge. Huge. Like Carvana and some of the other CarMax and things like that. They've adopted that. We have done both. And I will tell you, the haggle-free is the absolute best, even though we didn't go through Enterprise. I would haggle free again.
Thanks, Enterprise, for not haggling and also not sponsoring us. It's that time of the show where we want to hear from you. We'd love to see your comments on our videos, especially your rating in the movie and why. Now let's talk about some of those cool comments we've been getting, Teresa.
First up, we have Meg Boyd 2609 commented on our review of Madam Web. Here's what she said. I don't know what changed in the YouTube algorithm, but I love seeing the smaller channels on my homepage. That's us.
Yeah.
You two are so lovely, insightful, and fun. And thank you for letting me know there's no Spider-Man. Laugh out loud. I really wasn't sure what this movie was. Great analysis. Wishing y'all a wonderful Wednesday. Aww. Aww. Obviously, I was looking for Spider-Man. Apparently, Meg Boyd was also.
And your father-in-law, too, he commented on
I know. He was wondering what happened. It's not just me. But I appreciate that. We are a small channel, and we try to give lots of love, and we always appreciate it when people comment. That shows our cinema community further love.
Next up, we have Trow1938, who commented on our review of Zone of Interest. Here's an excerpt of what they had to say. Yes, their comment's a little long, and I encourage you to check out the full comment.
Yes.
Hi, ladies. This was one of the best, capitalized best, discussions of the movie I've watched on YouTube. You were the first to acknowledge there is, in fact, a plot and a storyline worth delving into, rather than focusing all the attention on the sound. I've watched countless reviews that said nothing happens in the movie. Oh, kidding? A lot happens, but it's so subtle it can be easy to miss. I think this movie is going to be a sleeper hit. Once people realize there's more to this movie than just the sound design and focus on the acting, the story, the passion that the performers have for this movie, It's going to take over like you haven't seen before. Still got some fierce competition in the award season. Hello, Oppenheimer. But this movie is so underappreciated in the wider cinema community. It's starting to filter through the indie pockets, but definitely if you have the chance, please go see Zone of Interest and check out Trow's comment on our review.
We appreciate the comments because the detail in which Trow went through, outlined, explained, I appreciate that. I laugh because we always talk about we don't want to do spoiler reviews. We try not to read too much. Obviously, some of our basic knowledge and some of our other knowledge goes into play. But I was laughing. I shared it with you this week. I remember sending it over to you where Steven Spielberg said, hey, that's the best movie on the Holocaust since my movie, Schindler's List.
That's pretty high praise considering Schindler's List is the most widely regarded film on the subject.
Absolutely. So I appreciated that. So thank you so much for your comment.
And thank you for putting spoiler notice on your comment, Trow. That was really appreciated.
Absolutely correct. Finally, we have Parole Doc who commented on a review of Bob Marley, One Love. Here's what they had to say. The critics are wrong if they are bashing it. Ooh, yes. As a Bob Marley disciple, it was good. It was reflective of his humanity, his theology, his philosophy, his spirit as I know it through decades of loving his music and studying his life as well as Rastafarianism.
I think it's sweet that we have the super fans commenting on these videos. It's not just the average cinema community goer that goes to see these movies. We have people seriously invested in the life and times of these particular historical figures. So it's kind of cool to see their perspective as well. They might also bring up a fact that we might not know or perspective that we hadn't thought of before we'd seen the movie.
Absolutely. I also think for Cocoon Cast, that's our goal, is to have respectful dialogue, discussion. We try to do the deep dive, and the deep dive comments come from our cinema community. And as you said, things that we don't know, things we would have no way of knowing. But I love the fact that so many of our cinema community are commenting with their heart and really talking about what does it feel like for them? What did they think? Commenting, agree or disagree. But I have learned so much from our cinema community when they share their own personal experiences.
We got to experience this in our comment section when we had our Priscilla review drop. Just a reminder, it just released on HBO Max. But I love seeing how this passion informs how they see the movie. Sometimes what you learn might translate in a different way.
Now it's time for some Hollywood news. Rebecca, what's going on out there?
We got some more B music.
Not the Bee Gees, I'm guessing?
No, the Beatles.
Oh, wow. All right. Who's saying what and where?
So I originally saw this as a little press fluff blurb on the wrap. Sadly, nobody had been credited for writing the blurb, and it kind of looked like a little AP Wire blurb just going, this is happening. So I went to Deadline, and I found the original article by Mike Fleming Jr.
Oh. What's his article about?
We're going to have 4 Beatles movies next year.
Oh, 4, not 1 and 4.
4.
Oh,
4
talk about
individual
that.
movies.
Wow. All right. Talk about this.
This is really cool to me because we have Sam Mendes as the director for all 4 of these movies.
Sam Mendes. That's funny.
Each movie is going to focus on a different Beatle.
Oh, do they have the casting obviously we know who the Beatles are, but they're not playing themselves. But do we know who or?
We don't have any word on the casting yet. This is just to get some hype and some buzz happening.
Oh. But 1 year, 4 movies.
1 year, 4 movies, 4 Beatles.
Do you know if the movies are going to be released in the theater or
yes, it's theatrical release.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't know if it was that or if they're just like, oh, we're going to go straight to streaming. It's like, here we go, right? Wow.
It's funny you say something about the casting. I was reading a pop-up fluff article from Variety where they're like, who should we cast as the Beatles? Ooh. The best comment was Daniel Day-Lewis could portray the Beatles better than the Beatles.
Oh, wow. I love Daniel Day-Lewis, though.
I know, Phantom Thread.
Yeah, I know, right? Stop me out of retirement to do the Beatles movie.
I would pay money for that.
Okay, we're not making a ton over here, so I will give up my portion of Cocoon Cast. Oh, wait.
We've made no money.
Exactly. Do we have any questions from the box?
Do you think releasing all 4 movies in 1 year is a good thing, or do you think they'll be more successful if they spread it out?
I think it's smart for them to release it 4 in 1 year, because it becomes kind of an event and people get butts in seats for event movies like this.
I tend to agree in the respect that if it takes too long, it's not that people are going to lose interest in the Beatles. Hello. Everybody loves the Beatles. But I think that there's something about it where there is more buzz with the Beatles. If you put them all together and you're anticipating, if you stretch it out, I don't know, it kind of loses the momentum a little bit.
I think it's really tough because each of the Beatles are their own iconic legendary figure. If you threw any one of them individually in a different band, they'd overshadow the rest of the band. But you have 4 iconic rock superstars, kind of like another band we know and love.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say that if I have one real contribution that I've made to Western civilization, it's that riff at the start of Big Bottom. It's iconic. It's and that's
what riff are you talking about?
The iconic one.
Yeah, it's iconic, except you didn't come up with it.
What are you talking about?
David came up with that. He played it on guitar and then you played it on bass.
No, not quite. No, historically, I think he's right. I think he did come up with that.
Then he played it on guitar, and then I learned it off of him.
That was me.
Yes.
That's what happened.
That was him.
That's my.
Fair enough.
It's iconic. No, it may be the single most covered non-hit in the history of rock and roll.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's quite a distinction, isn't it?
it's a distinction without a difference.
Playing together at the best of their abilities, at the height of their talent.
Look how excited you are.
I'm not a huge Beatle.
And not even Daniel Day-Lewis, and you're like, woo!
I'm not a huge Beatle person.
Wow. How can you even be sitting in this space with me and say such things?
Well, there's a little bit of a dividing line.
Yeah, right. There is now.
But I'm excited because the Beatles are almost a locus point of music during the time period of which they were recording and producing new music.
Correct.
So in that way, you kind of get to see the culture through the eyes of the Beatles.
That I think is interesting too, right? Through the eyes of each individual, how do they see it? This could be interesting. Ooh. All right, I'll put that in the little shelf pocket. Anything else interesting going on out there?
I thought my dinosaur pun was great last week. This is the best one I'm going to come up with yet. Don't make checks Jurassic can't cash, Universal.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. But that's not all. All right, you get to unpack that crazy one. All right, starting with...
Gareth Edwards is the new director of the new Jurassic World movie.
Oh, they named? Oh, they're naming names.
Well, David Leitch was supposed to do it, but then the deal fell through, and they're like, hey, Gareth.
In less than, what, a week?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Ooh, we don't know what happened, or is that just kind of like,
I was just so shocked I didn't check any auxiliary material. Justin Kroll was popping this out on Deadline, and I'm like, what?
Wow. All right. Well, does that mean for sure, or,
no.
Well, next week may be a different one?
Supposedly, according to Justin's article, Gareth leapt at the chance to direct a Jurassic Park movie.
Oh, I bet. Right? Wouldn't you?
I'd be too scared to, but I'd try it. I'd do a test reel first.
Wow, that was fast. Like, fast.
My roommate's going to be so disappointed. I think he was hoping Brad Pitt would show up because it's a David Leitch film.
Oh, nice. All right. And he's done other...
Gareth's no stranger to the big monster flicks. In fact, he directed the first newer Godzilla movie. This movie spawned off a couple other Godzilla movies that you may have seen, and also the Monarch series you may have seen on Apple.
What about the actors? Same cast is coming back?
Nope.
Or?
Nobody we know.
Not even Jeff Goldblum?
No, I looked. No Jeff Goldblum. I'm sorry. No Laura Dern either.
Oh, Laura Dern. I remember Laura Dern back in the day. Any note on casting or nothing?
Nothing. They are trying to get this out as fast as possible.
Because people are going to start making fun of them because they keep changing directors and they don't have the cast and they don't know what they're doing. What?
I hadn't thought about that, but now thanks.
Any questions from the box?
Now that they've confirmed that the original cast isn't coming back from the previous films, does that make you more excited or less excited to see this new property?
I'm more excited, actually. I'm excited because I felt like the last Jurassic World movie, Dominion, did a really neat job of wrapping up character journeys. I'm always interested to see a new perspective in this franchise, and it gives me hope that they'll kind of lean more of a horror movie-esque direction that I was voicing, that I was worried wouldn't happen under Leach.
No Jeff Goldblum. This is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. You'll live. You'll watch the movie.
I don't know. No Spielberg. Halfway out the door. No John Williams music. You're losing me. You're losing me. No Jeff Goldblum. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. It better be good.
But you like Gareth's work. We watched The Creator. You reasonably enjoyed that. You've seen the original Godzilla that he did. You enjoyed that. You even saw Rogue One. You really liked that.
Yeah, it's a 5-mother.
Yeah.
We've agreed.
That's a rewatch movie.
I really feel like you're just like trying to pull me from the edge of
Reason, sanity, or dinosaurs. Pick one.
I know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It might be Rebecca and the chair. Why isn't Rebecca just talking by herself? Why is Teresa not in the chair? No Jeff Goldblum. I'll protest. I'll just put Jeff Goldblum right out there and he can talk for me.
You put a sign that says free Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, no kidding. Not impressed, but I might be. We'll to be continued. We'll see. Thanks for joining us this week. We are always excited to create experiences to bring our cinema community together.
Next week, we are excited to finally be reviewing Dune Part 2. Yay! Dune hype lives! And on our Movies and More weekly show, the new movie, Perfect Day. It's Perfect Day. We got Dune movie and a new Kim Winters movie.
That just goes together. Please remember to like, subscribe, and to share our channel.
If you enjoyed this show, you might check out last week where we reviewed Bob Marley, One Love. And on our Movies and More weekly show, we reviewed Madam Web.
Remember, cinema community movies are
better together.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next review.